how to find the right woman for marriage. In this video, you will get a complete plan on how to find the right girlfriend or wife. What I'll teach you here today, you won't find anywhere else. This will be uncut, raw, in heavy, heavy detail. Enjoy. One of the first things you want to do is to stop making love to yourself. Sounds a bit weird, I know, I get it. But if you want to increase the evolutionary pressure to put yourself out there to go on dates, you want to stop making love to yourself. Why? Well, because the second you come, you have a release of prolactin in your brain. And do you feel more motivated or less motivated to go and take action? Obviously less. So you want to increase the evolutionary pressure within your biological system to actually go out there and meet women in real life. The next thing is the winner versus loser mindset, because before we look at the exact how-tos, there's a couple of fundamental psychological building blocks we have to look at in terms of prepping yourself internally so you can take strategic action for consistent periods of times. What differentiates a winner from a loser? At its most fundamental base, it's the assumption of responsibility. Do you assume the responsibility for the results you've created in your life so far or not? Most men blame external circumstances. They blame dating apps, dating these days, also other women, other men, the city they live in, their job, the lack of time. Everything is an excuse. The reason you are where you are in your career or your business so far is because you've assumed the responsibility for creating the outcomes that you have. You didn't make excuses. You wanted the job that you have. You didn't make excuses. You increased your skills. The business you have, you worked a lot for it. And you understand that ultimately you are responsible, because whether you win or lose in the end, the only story that people will remember is number one. Or if you've actually won. If you lost, nobody's going to care about your excuses. They won't even remember you. And especially when it comes to dating and relationships, the world, society has taught you that it's okay to blame external circumstances. So my first invitation for you is to understand that the reason you're not in a relationship yet is because of the decisions you've made in the past. The decisions you've made led to a certain set of actions, and those actions have created the situation you're in right now, which is either you're not getting enough dates at all, you're getting dates with the wrong women, or women lose interest in you. That is your responsibility. I didn't say fault, because fault is disempowering. Fault is past focused. Responsibility is future focused. If you understand that you are 100% responsible for all of the results you've created in your life, that gives you the power to change it. It's not women, it's not dating apps, it's not dating in 2025. It is you and the actions you've taken. That's beautiful, because that empowers you. That means that you are 100% within control, that it's not some external factor. It should make you feel good to hear that. If it triggers you a little bit, just understand, oh, well, maybe I got to put my ego aside and just do the actions that are necessary. So, first mindset, assume the responsibility. Because you could have, in the past, chosen a different partner. You could have gotten more dates. You could have worked on your communication skills. And that is not to blame. It's just about understanding there were actions in the past that led to you being where you are right now. Me with my ex-wife as well. I was married to somebody who wasn't right for me when I was 19 and she was 27 when I met her, when I married her at 23 years of age, many years ago. I didn't have to do that. Now, do I fully blame myself? No, I don't blame myself at all, but I assume my responsibility. People try to have conversations with me and said, David, do you think she's right for you? I wouldn't have listened to anybody anyway. So it was probably part of my journey. I probably had to go through this. And you had to go through what you went through to make you the man you are today. So it's all good. But going forward, Just understand that the process can actually be fun and easy if you make better decisions and you take better actions. Second, you are worth an amazing relationship. That's something a lot of men struggle with. Say these words right now. I am worth an amazing relationship. Say it. I am worth a beautiful relationship. If there's any bit of resistance in there, then the exercises we're going to go through in a couple of minutes will be very helpful for you. This is something you have to affirm every day. You are worth a beautiful relationship. This doesn't mean that you have to do 1.5 years of therapy and focus on your problems. No, simply saying this sentence to yourself over and over again creates a new, more empowering mental and emotional reality for yourself. That's a fact. You can simply rewrite your own internal reality by uttering new words. Guess what? You don't think you deserve it? That's also just a story somebody else put you there. You weren't born as a baby feeling undeserving. But it's extremely important that you believe that you are worth it and that you believe that the right woman is also going to benefit from you putting yourself out there and from being in a relationship with you because you're going to treat her well. In order to be effective at this process, you have to understand one of the most important principles in life, which is that how you feel dictates the quality of your actions. And how you feel is a result of the meaning you're giving any given circumstance, any given event, any given emotional reality. So, for example, if a woman that you're currently dating rejects you, she stops responding to your texts, or God forbid she makes out with another man in front of you, or she just tells you she didn't really feel the spark. If you then give that the meaning that dating doesn't work, I don't believe I'm ever going to be able to find someone, that the women in America just aren't right for me, that you'll have to go to Latin America and become a passport bro. If you give it any disempowering meaning, that will create an emotional reality within yourself that will drastically reduce the probability that you'll take constructive action later today and tomorrow. Same in business. You've had setbacks in your career or your business, but you've learned to discipline your disappointment, didn't you? Yes, you felt negative emotions, but then you had processes that allowed you to take constructive action anyway. You give things a different meaning. Things in life, the fact that she didn't text you back, the fact that he got a divorce, things don't have meaning. We are meaning-making machines, and the meaning we give a situation determines our mental and emotional reality. It is not the thing, but the meaning we ascribe to it. If the fact that this woman ignored you now gets the meaning from you that you are not lovable, that dating apps don't work, that there's something wrong with you, will that then increase or decrease the probability that you'll put yourself out there more? Less. You will put yourself out there less. It'll decrease the probability. And if you put yourself out there less, with less energy, with less conviction, with less confidence, what are the results going to be you'll get? Shitty. You won't get great dates. You'll get a lot less. You'll be at home more isolated, less time with quality male friends. So your mental and emotional state gets even weaker. So the results are even poorer, which then feeds back into the pre-existing belief that dating apps don't work. Because you gave it a disempowering meaning. For you to find the right girlfriend or wife for life, you have to assume the responsibility for constantly and only giving things an empowering meaning. That doesn't mean that setbacks won't happen, that rejection won't happen. That is all going to happen. But you have to refuse to disempower yourself by ascribing a negative meaning to certain events. Jocko Wilkins, however his name is pronounced, that Navy SEAL, he is an absolute legend. He says that if something goes wrong, he simply says, good. We didn't get the equipment that we wanted? Good. The enemy attacked? Good. We ran out of ammo? Good. I hurt my little toe? Can't do leg day today? Good. Whatever happens, good. She stopped texting me back? Good. Why? I don't know. I'll find a way to give it an empowering meaning. And here's a beautiful fact about how the brain works. The brain only needs one reason. And it only needs to be believable. It can't be completely false. I can't sit here and say, I'm not ginger, I'm not ginger, I'm not ginger. Part of me knows I am. And you don't want to use affirmations or sentences you utter within yourself to fight objective reality. You want to affirm something that could very well be true, and if there's ambiguity or uncertainty, I might as well give it an empowering meaning. Because it will make me feel stronger. If I feel stronger and better about myself, I'll keep putting myself out there. Extremely important. The next one, the power of intention. Wayne Dyer, one of the greatest spiritual teachers in our world, he sadly passed away many years ago. He had a presentation on YouTube on the power of intention. And it basically says this: everything you want in life starts with intention. If you just place your intention on anything long enough, eventually you'll have it. Not from a place of lack, not from a place of scarcity, but simply focusing your intention on it, and then you can combine that with positively visualizing. And by the way, the benefit of visualization isn't woo-woo. When you visualize the successful achievement of the outcome, for example, you see yourself with a beautiful woman inside out, maybe a family, you really see yourself in detail there. She's happy, she loves you, you're happy. That creates enough emotional certainty within yourself to then do what's necessary to actually achieve the outcome. Visualization creates emotional certainty, belief that allows you to take the actions necessary. Theoretically, you could argue all you need is the input. All you need is the action. Yes, but to get the action, you have to control your emotions, right? But it starts with intention, placing your intention on it. That is how everything starts. You got the job you have in your career because it was your intention at some point. You got the business you have because you put your intention on it. And he said, just focus on being in shape long enough. Just focus on having a beautiful woman by your side long enough, and eventually you will. Not by magic, but eventually you won't be able to stop yourself from taking the right actions. Intention comes first. If you ask yourself, how can I be a better human being today? How can I treat people better today? How can I be a better friend? A better husband, I was going to say. Future husband. You're almost there. You're close. How can I be a better XYZ? Ask yourself, what's my outcome? I'm going to go to this family meeting. Is my outcome to show off and to talk about politics or some nonsense? Or do I just want to connect? What's my intention? And by focusing your intention on the outcome of a quality relationship, you will unconsciously start moving in the right direction. And I actually believe, call it spiritual or religious or life, whatever you believe in or don't, I think there is a force in life that conspires with you and that helps you. If you're a good person, if you're contributing to people, and you place your intention on the achievement of an outcome that you will benefit from and other people will benefit from, that force, life force, God, universe, whatever you want to call it, will conspire with you and it will help you move in the right direction. The importance of intention cannot be overstated. Now, intention does not mean chasing any particular individual. Very important. You can chase the outcome of a relationship by placing your intention on it, but it has to be 100% independent of any particular individual. It's never about one individual. I want her. No, that's why I don't help people get their ex back. Once she's your ex, it's over, move on. I have clients who sometimes come to me and want me to help them save their marriage. That's fine. But I also tell them, we may in this process discover that you're not compatible and then you'll move on and I'll help you find somebody who's much better for you. That's fine. And oftentimes we've been able to save marriages. I just recently did that with a client and it's one of the most beautiful things in the whole world because they were compatible to begin with. If they hadn't been, no problem. You have to understand that your happiness does not depend on one particular individual ever. Marshall Rosenberg, founder of nonviolent communication, clearly says that any psychological need we have can be met independently of any particular person. Your need for love and connection does not have to be met through Sarah. Ideally, you want to spend time with a lot of quality male friends, and you want to choose her from an abundance of options. You never need one particular individual. So when we talk about intention, don't get that clear case of one-itis. It's never one person. And by the way, when you actually talk to enough women in a short period of time, you get the sensation of a crush really quickly. And you realize, oh, it's not the individual that I want. I'm actually chasing this feeling of being in love. It's never one particular individual. The math is against you, my friend, if you believe that, or rather the math is actually in your favor, because there's 4 billion women in the world, 10% of them in your age group, there's 400 million women in the world. And you found the one does not exist. There's plenty of women, small percentage, total amount still great in this world, who could make for an amazing wife with you. So never get obsessed over one individual. That's a decision you have to make. From this day on, I shall never act needy towards one particular individual ever again. Next. One of the most important starting points is to enjoy the process, because dating is not supposed to be another chore. It's not supposed to be, gotta go work out, gotta go do yoga because my joints are stiff, I gotta eat right. No, it's supposed to be enjoyable. This is supposed to be fun. You work hard, you have worked hard, you deserve to have fun with this. As much as I take this process with my clients extremely serious, in terms of getting the outcome, getting the result, it also has to be fun. Because if you're not enjoying it, then you won't show up as the most fun and lighthearted and positive version of yourself on the date. And you won't be able to communicate your personality authentically and effectively, and you'll be less attractive. And the right women won't feel that drawn to you. So you have to make a decision to enjoy the process. You have to be okay with it being hard, and once it's hard, it can be easy. A lot of things are seemingly opposing paradigms. It seems like a paradox, but it isn't. You have to be willing for it to be hard, like the gym, but then 15, 20 minutes in, it actually isn't, right? It's only hard in the first couple of minutes when you're on the bike, and then it gets easier. You have to have the willingness to rely on the warrior inside of you, discipline, fortitude. You have that warrior inside of you, otherwise you wouldn't have achieved what you have achieved in certain areas, be that your hobby, your job, your career. So you have that. You have to have a willingness to eat tons of rejection, to do whatever is necessary to make this outcome come true, because my happiness depends on having a beautiful relationship. My future family depends on it. But once you have that, it can actually be easy. And you got to enjoy it. Just make a decision that you will have fun with it. Because trust me, you're going to have to kiss a couple of frogs on the way. Oh, what a horrible process that is. Oh, sorry. While there's people dying in war, you're going to have to go on dates with beautiful women and evaluate whether you're compatible or not. I'm sorry, you're going to have to go on a couple of dates. How fucking horrible that is. One of the first exercises I would encourage you to do that you will greatly benefit from is called the 20 Reasons exercise. What I want you to do is I want you to write down, take a note, pen and paper. You can pause this video, obviously, if you want, and write down 20 reasons as to why it would be the greatest gift on earth for the right woman to be in a relationship with you. Not 17, not 14, minimum 20 reasons. Damn it, I don't know. It's just the money. It's just the fact that I'm kind. Insist on an answer and your unconscious will deliver. What are reasons as to why for the right woman, somebody that I'm compatible with, it would be the greatest gift in her lifetime to spend life with me? Could be the fact that you're kind, that you're caring, that you're a good cook, that you're good at giving massages, that you're silly, that you're able to make her laugh, that you're good at making love, that you have the same values, that you will support her, that you'll be there for her family. Make up your own reasons. Write this down. This would be truly, truly transformational. And then have it on your phone, on your notes. Print it out and look at it every single day. Because we're going to talk about confidence in a couple of minutes here. But it starts with the realization that she will benefit from the relationship as much or more than you. It's not just taking. In society, we have this idea, men take intimacy. No, it's a give and a take. It's a give and a take. It's an interplay. And ideally, at some point, we don't even focus too much on what we can get. You almost want to put that person above you. Now, in the beginning of the dating stages, you don't want her on a pedestal. Because if you put her on a pedestal, then you start acting like a needy little something. But eventually, when you're in a relationship, Fernanda and I, we've been together for 5.5 years, we're engaged. I have her on a pedestal, but not in terms of me being weak or not masculine or fearing losing her. No, but I really celebrate having her there. And that's extremely important. But that's something we can touch on later. Write down these 20 reasons. It will make you aware of the fact that you bring so much to the table. I have so many clients who tell me that this is a super, super powerful exercise. Write it down. Now we get to the next exercise, which is one of the most important starting points. It's called the 3 magic questions. I want you to write down 3 things. The first question is, who am I as a man? And what I want you to write down is, what do I stand for in this life? What do I stand against? What must never be said about me at my funeral? How do I define myself? What am I willing to die for? Because if you have nothing to die for, you have nothing to live for. What are your strongest convictions? That will give you a sense of certainty most people lack. And some of this will be discovering new things about yourself, and some of this will simply be remembering. Just reminding yourself of who you are and getting back in touch with yourself. And ideally, you do this after a gym session, after a strong workout. Have a strong workout where you listen to music, and then you sit down. Then you do the 20 reasons, and then you start doing these 3 magic questions. Don't do so from a disempowered, weak state. Do so from a strong, mentally empowered state where you feel the conviction and the strength in your body. It's different. Go for a walk, spend some time with friends, put yourself in the right state. Something we're going to talk about in a couple of minutes as well. If you want to know how to do that, stick around, watch the video first, and then you can come back to doing these exercises. Extremely important that you activate all of the parts of your brain, your state-dependent memory, if you will, to access the deeper parts within you, the more inspired part, the truest, the most authentic parts within you. So you write these down. Who am I? Second question, where am I going? It doesn't matter whether you're super successful, sort of, not as successful yet in your career. What are your goals? If you want to feel alive, if you want to have the greatest levels of energy, you have to make progress. I was with a friend yesterday. We were filming videos, and he goes, David, you're on white powder, he says, right? I said, obviously not. I don't take anything, nothing. But I'm excited. I'm making progress. One, I like what I do. I like these activities. They give me energy. And I believe tomorrow will be better than today. The best is yet to come. I'm working towards a vision. And first of all, I get to help clients every single day with their dating and their relationship life. Babies are being born, families are made. So that's inherently obviously super rewarding. I like the activity in and of itself. It's rewarding. And I have a vision that I'm working towards. That gives you energy. So it doesn't matter how successful you are. If you don't have a tomorrow that excites you, a new project in your business, in your career, it could be the relationship that you make, that the outcome. But then it also has to be something within yourself. Where am I going as a man? What's my next project? Is it my body? Is it a new business? You have to have something that excites you. And it has to be something that you inherently want to do. Oh, it burned out. You burn out because you don't like what you're doing. Have you ever had that where you feel like you have a little bit low energy and then you think of doing something else that you actually enjoy and all of a sudden you have all the energy in the world available? Yeah, you burn out if you don't like what you're doing. If you like what, yes, if you work 16 hours a day for 2 weeks, at some point you crash out. I do that also sometimes. I don't work 16 hours a day every day, but I work a lot. And sometimes I get to a point where I'm just done and I just need to lie there for 4 hours, watch Netflix with Fernanda, make love, and then come back to life after taking half a day off. So sometimes there's a physical component to it where you need to take care of your physiology, but largely it's you having energy. So ask yourself, where am I going as a man? What's my mission? Because you also have to have your purpose above everything else. Even, very important for you, even if it feels like your purpose right now is finding a relationship, that is amazing. But you also have to have that North Star that you're working towards as a man. I have clients who are doing so well financially, they don't ever have to work a day in their life ever again. And then I have guys who have good jobs and good businesses, and they don't theoretically need to hustle that hard. It's not about the money. It's about making progress, because we have a fundamental need for growing. Tony Robbins says that. Progress equals happiness. So write that down. Because when you're on a date and you know what you're working towards, and then you talk to her about your goals, that brings an entirely different sense of energy. I was on a date 7 or 8 years ago with a girl, and I just got done shooting some of these videos. Yeah, I've been doing this for a while. And 3 or 4 hours shooting videos. So I roll up on the date, and obviously I don't drink alcohol. And so we sit down. I ask her what she wants. Red wine, and I order a cranberry juice for myself. And so we start talking for 5 minutes, and then basically the entire date, before we went to the hotel that was next door, lasted 40 minutes. And basically for 30 minutes of those, I was ranting about different psychological needs we have, because that is something that I filmed videos about before. I was super passionate about it, and the energy transferred. Yes, what you say matters, and I'm not telling you to lecture her on one of your nerdy hobbies, but I owned it unapologetically, unashamedly. That's exactly what I wanted to talk about, because it was so present in my mind. My prefrontal cortex was occupied with psychological human needs, because that's what I was lecturing about a couple of hours beforehand in video format. And that's what I wanted to talk about. Now, obviously, that's not how you run a date, and we're going to talk about the good structure of a date in a couple of minutes here. But if you have something you're passionate about that's also attached to your goals, and then you talk about that on the date, that creates an entirely different level of attraction. Third question, with whom? Who am I? Where am I going? And with whom? 2 components to that. First, your dream partner. Define her. Aim high. Write down your must-haves, your nice-to-haves, and your deal breakers. Write down what it is that you actually want. And aim high. Henry David Thoreau says most people fail in life not because they aim too high and miss, but because they aim too low and hit. They settle. Was it Les Brown or Henry David Thoreau? One of them. Walk down the street and look, most men who are walking by with their wives deep into their eyes, and you see deep depression and resignation because they're in a relationship with somebody they don't truly want to be with, but they're worried that their need for love and connection won't be met, just like me and my ex-wife, because they're not spending enough time with other quality male friends. They're not honest with themselves. They're not honest with her. And they'd be much better off being with somebody else. Yes, some of them just need to transform the quality of the relationship, but a lot of them should be with somebody else because they never aimed high. Physically, what do I want? Values-wise, has to be the same as you. Personality, not the same, but matching. Fernanda and I, we have very different personalities, but they match. And then also intellectually, it has to be somebody that you can have intellectually stimulating conversations with. If you're a man who's intelligent, high IQ, you need somebody that you can have exciting conversations with. Fernanda gives me points of views that I hadn't considered yet, perspectives that are giving me a mental boner, if you will. Because attraction is not just physical. You also have to have respect for who she is as a person and her intellectual capabilities. Write that down. Take your time. And the men who don't do that very rarely end up with a really quality woman. It's one of the most important things you'll ever do, to define your ideal lady. And you can leave some of the details like eye color or whatever it is up to God, up to the universe, up to life. But whatever is important to you, visualize, see yourself with her. What would it be like to spend a Saturday with her? What will we do on a Tuesday evening? What's making love like? How are we going to raise our children? Really visualize and ask yourself, what would I be truly excited about? And you will find that you will attract more of the right women. Part of that is life, God conspiring with you, but at a more practical level, you will unconsciously start noticing red flags in women automatically because you will compare every woman you'll interact with this previously defined ideal. Now, when you venture out, after you've done these exercises, you cannot overwhelm yourself. We're going to look at online dating, in-person approaches, Instagram. You have to understand that we as human beings, we as men, exist in 3 zones. We have the comfort zone. That's where we do the things we already know how to do in your career, your business. You feel rather competent. You enjoy that. Great. Then if I ask you to do something that is slightly challenging, where you feel a little bit of nervousness, but you're still able to perform, then you're in the zone of growth or a zone of challenge. If I then ask you to do something that is even more difficult, that exceeds your subjective realm of competence in that moment, then you're in the zone of overwhelm. For example, we're walking by a restaurant, you and I, imagine in London, in New York, and there's 12 attractive ladies, and I'll tell you, walk in, introduce yourself, have a conversation with all of them, and then ask one of them for their number. You're probably freaking out. Or you'd say, damn it, I can't. Or you'd find some excuse. That is because that subjectively is outside of the realm of your current competence in this very moment. Now, you could change your state drastically or do something else we're going to talk about in a minute. But right now, you simply can't. And that's okay. That's fine. Gunther Schmidt, one of Germany's best psychologists, who I've had the fortune to learn a lot from over the years, he teaches something called hypnosystemic therapy, which basically just means there's an external component and an internal component to our experience, the way we feel. That is something we prime at any given point in time. And so subjectivity is everything. So what I've learned over the years with clients is to challenge them, but not overwhelm them. So when you go through that process, you need to learn to challenge yourself, but not overwhelm yourself. It starts with seeing a lady that you want to go and talk to. What do? Can you approach? Can you not? Well, if you want to progressively desensitize yourself and put yourself in the zone of growth or challenge but not overwhelm, then you may not be able to go and approach a woman who's an 8 out of 10. Subjectively right now, you might not be able to do that. Have you watched Lord of the Rings? Seen somebody who looks like Gollum? Right? Somebody that you're not attracted to at all. How nervous would you be then? Barely. Go do that. We're going to talk about progressive desensitization later, but you go step by step. You understand that if you overwhelm yourself, be that on dating apps, on Instagram, with the quantity of work you'll have to do, or the difficulty of the approach or the task itself, you won't be able to sustain effort for 2 to 7 months, however long it may take, 11, 4, 3, to find the right girlfriend or wife. Because to find somebody like that, it will require consistent effort. That requires you expanding your comfort zone, ultimately, because if you leave your comfort zone right now, eventually you expand it. How you feel is largely also determined by what you focus on. Tony Robbins has a triad, and there's 3 components of factors that lead you to either feel empowered or disempowered. The first one is focus. What do you focus on? Do you focus on what you can control or you can't control? Do you focus on the outcome of the date or your freedom of expression during it? Do you focus on getting a good reaction and getting her approval or self-amusing? Whatever you focus on is going to dictate your mental and emotional reality. Do you focus on what you have and past successes or past failures? If I were to ask you to focus on all the past failures you've had, you're going to feel pretty terrible and weak and disempowered. If I were to ask you, just ask yourself, when was the last time that you had a great date? Can you remember a time where you felt really desired by a woman? Maybe she wasn't perfect for you, but you really felt desired. Can you remember that? Close your eyes for a second. If you're driving, please don't. But if you're not driving, close your eyes for a second and just remember a moment where you felt truly desired by a woman. And don't just think it. See it. Feel it. Be there. How does that feel? That changes your mental and your emotional reality in that very instant. So, taking control of what you focus on, super important. Second, your inner dialogue. How do you talk to yourself? Nathaniel Branden says in his book, The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem, you have to refuse to live in an adversarial relationship with yourself. You have to refuse to live in an adversarial relationship with yourself. Now, the relationship with yourself, thank God, is nothing that's carved in stone. It is something that's co-created at any given point in time. How? Through the use of your words. How do you talk to yourself in your own mind? What's your inner dialogue like? How do you talk to yourself? Refuse to utter any words in your own mind that take power away from you. Stop that. You put David, I'm an introvert. Introvert has nothing to do with it. The only scientifically documented difference between introverts and extroverts is the fact that introverts get more dopamine from social interactions than extroverts. Therefore, you are satiated quicker and you need less, but you still need it. So refuse to utter any words in your head that take power away from you. She rejected you, must be gay. Dyke. I'm joking, right? Find something silly that's empowering. Never allow any continued inner dialogue that takes power away from you, because nobody's served by that. The world does not benefit from you playing small. You playing small does not serve the world. The last component is physiology. The way you feel also is largely determined by how you use your body. I have another video on this YouTube channel that talks about that in more detail. It's called Inner Game Mastery. It's 50 minutes. You can go and check that out. A couple of very effective strategies. How you speak. How much certainty do you have in your voice? And I can be loud and have certainty in my voice. Or I can be super calm and have a lot of certainty in my voice. Speaking with certainty primes a more empowering mental and emotional state, because it's not just that people who feel confident as a result of that confidence then behave physiologically differently. No, is that you first use your body the way you would if you felt confident, and that then, as Gunther Schmidt and Tony Robbins say, primes a more empowering mental and emotional state. How do you walk? Look at the difference between your shoulders. Like this? A little bit straighter. I should probably have better posture as well. But how do you walk? Gunther Schmidt says, how you are going, that is how it's going. How you're going is how it's going. You are hypnotizing yourself. You're always putting yourself into a more empowering or disempowering state. There's very few things you do in life that are neutral. Almost everything you do or say with your body either makes you more or less confident in that moment. So whenever you're walking somewhere, put your shoulders back a little bit. That doesn't mean you have to walk around like an egomaniac, but can you pull your shoulders back a little bit? Have 2% more swag in your shoulders. And just ask your unconscious mind, how would I walk if I was truly confident? If I had 12 out of 10 level confidence, how would I be different? And it's not necessarily that your volume is louder and your pitch is lower because that's what masculinity is. No, but unconsciously, authentically, you will respond. Understand that how you use your body has a massive impact on how you feel, not just on how you're perceived. So the way you feel, your confidence, partially depends on your mental and emotional state. It's also a choice. You can literally just choose to be confident. You can just choose to refuse to live in a state of insecurity no matter what happens. Imagine somebody from Mars is looking down upon Earth right now. Do you think the Martians care whether you live insecure or confident? Do you think insecure is more authentic than confident? It's not. Fake humble is still fake. Fake confident is fake. There is nothing fake about self-belief. There is nothing fake in you being as confident as humanly possible and feeling as good as humanly possible and wanting everybody else to win as well. It's not just, I win and therefore you lose. It's win-win. I want to win, and I want you to win as well. I want the human race to win as a whole. I'm not just for men and against women. I want men to win, and I want women to win. Everybody. I want you to feel confident because it doesn't take away from my confidence. Zero. Nada. Zit. You can choose confidence. You can just decide to live confidently. You can do that. Yeah, but would that really be authentic? Of course. Wayne Dyer used to say, nobody knows enough to be a pessimist. Nobody knows enough to not be confident. What is the positive consequence of you not living confidently? Yeah, but it's humble. It's not about that. When I talk to my business consultants and they have a higher expertise in business because I'm a coach and I want to focus on delivering the best service to my clients possible, so I need people to help me with the business structure of it, I'm not there to have an ego. I put my ego aside instantaneously because I'm out-qualified in that domain and I listen. When I'm in a martial arts gym, even though I've trained for many years, if I'm talking to somebody who's better than me, I listen and I learn. Of course, I'm humble in that environment, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to feel insecure. Big difference. When you put yourself out there, your appearance really matters. So I'm sure that you're already taking care of your hygiene and your smell and all of that, of course. When it comes to clothing, one thing that I want to touch on very briefly here is that you need to not just dress in a way that is professional, but you also have to dress in a way that it maximizes your looks. So for some men, that's going to be a shirt or a suit, could be a jumper like this. Most of the time on a first date, a shirt is good. If you're jacked, it can be a polo. Don't wear t-shirts if you're not jacked. Just a shirt or a suit is fine. Not a full suit, but maybe like a suit jacket. It has to be authentic to you when it comes to looks, authentic and objectively good looking. It can't just be good looking and inauthentic, but it also can't just be I'm authentic and it looks horrible. It has to be both. Now, let's take a look at how we can get you more quality dates so you can choose the right girlfriend or life partner from online dating. Let's talk about dating apps first of all. 15 minutes per day, and you can get one quality date a week just from that. 2 to 4 quality dates a month, minimum, theoretically easily 1 date a week. I have clients who go on 3 to 4 dates a week. I have a client in London, 51 years of age, joined the program a month ago or so, and I set up his dating profiles, and within 48 hours, he got 11 phone numbers just from Hinge. Only one dating app, okay? Bit excessive, understood, but he got a little excited, of course, understandable, right? So you need options, not to become an F-boy, not to have intimacy with as many women as possible, but to find the right one. If you're going to hire somebody for a position, if you're going to hire a person, then you're going to interview multiple different candidates at the same time. Obviously, because you want the best person for the job. I'm just going to hire this person for 6 months and see where things go. You're going to ruin the business. You're going to sink the ship. You can't do that. You want to interview as many candidates as humanly possible, pre-qualified, obviously, which we're going to talk about in a second as well, and then choose that person from. So with dating apps, what do you have to do? You have to get professional pictures. Very, very, very important. It's something we help our clients with in detail. By the way, if you want me to help you with that personally, with the online dating side of things, if you're a man with a successful career or your own business, click the link below and apply for a free initial consultation. So you want to get professional photos. There's 4 types of photos you want to have. You want to have professional photography on your dating apps. You want to have social proof, status, and lifestyle. When it comes to professional photography, you want to select a photographer. Has to be a good one. Very important because most photographers really, really suck. Not all of them are created equal. Almost all hierarchies of competence have the unfortunate reality that most people are at the bottom. Most people suck at whatever they do. Some are in the middle. Very few are at the top. Find the ones that are at the top. Find the ones that are good. Very important. If you get an expensive photographer and he's just not talented at making you look good, it won't work. What you want to do is you want to have 3 different types of outfits. Get somebody to give you feedback on your outfits. Very important. And then get professional photos taken and then go through all of the photos ever taken with you. For example, you're at a wedding. Cousin Sarah here. Cousin Annette here. And you're there with both of them. That's social proof. Social proof photos doesn't mean you're mates, okay? Also important, don't pose with other men. Okay? Don't just have pictures where there's other men who are taller than you. It doesn't matter if you're short, not a problem. Really not. Just don't be in direct comparison with them. I have some friends who are so good looking, I would never ever show myself with them on a picture because I'm pale like an ugly little ginger in comparison. Don't do that. Be strategic. So you and other women, not in a creepy playboy type of way, but you dancing with other women, you being at a wedding with different women. Okay, very important. Then lifestyle and status enhancing elements. You giving a speech, you driving in your car, showing off. It's okay to show off. It's okay to brag in a way where it's subtle. You have to brag, but it has to be subtle. Okay? Don't just flex your watch absurdly. Make it subtle. Okay? Very important. By the way, let me tell you something. The right women, they don't even know anything about it. She won't care. There's literally people that I've seen on the internet say, I'm not going to wear an AP or a Patek because women only recognize a Rolex. If you need a Rolex or a watch to get women attracted to you, you have not understood the game. Most things that men think matter don't matter at all. Your hair can be imperfect. Your looks can be imperfect. You have to wear no watch at all. Your accent can be a little weird. Anything can be a little bit off. You can have a belly. Everything goes. As long as you pay attention to the best practices of building attraction and you become an excellent communicator with women, most things don't matter. If your mindset is on point, you get quality options and you communicate insanely effectively and you're charismatic, which by the way, just means radical honesty plus congruence plus 100% confidence, then it's fine. Most things don't even matter. But you want to make yourself look as good as humanly possible on these dating apps. You build an amazing profile. Then you write a good bio, good prompts. 2/3 of the prompts have to be lighthearted and fun. 1/3 semi-serious about your values and what you're looking for. Now, don't ever say, I'm looking for XYZ. More saying, these are my values. You should not go out with me if. That's a very good prompt to use, by the way. Then you want to have your bio written in bullet points. Please avoid massive blocks of text simply by having a bio in bullet points. That already helps you stand out. Then you want to get the premium version, Hinge X, Bumble Premium, Tinder, blah, blah, blah. Raya, very important. For example, we refer clients to Raya all the time because that's a good app. There's no guarantee that you'll get in, but it's a good one. But Hinge and Bumble will suffice. Or Christian Mingle or a couple of other ones that you could use or whatever your particular religion happens to be. There's some for all different types of faiths or non-faiths, whatever you're into. You have to build a profile that communicates to the right target audience. Again, that's why the first exercise was so important. This is the type of woman that I see myself with for the long term, so I have to build a profile that communicates properly to the right target audience. Then, very important that you complete your profile. You want to split test different apps, no more than 15 minutes a day-ish. You want to sign into the app a couple of times per day. Very important that you verify your profile also. And then you want to run boosts at least a couple of times a week. You can run a boost every single day. It's pay to play, especially on Hinge. You want to pay to play. Most of the likes you'll get won't actually just come from you swiping. By the way, only swipe right 10, 15 times per day. That's more than enough. 10 times a day is enough. Then you want to pay. You want to run the boosts. Boosts work 100% on all platforms. Roses on Hinge, you got to test. I found with clients that for some, they work very well. For some, don't. Just spend $50, buy 26 roses, and then you want to track. I sent these 26 roses, and did I get a date or didn't I? And if you have to spend $50 or whatever it is, $50, £50 to get one date, great. Good ROI. Good return on investment. Text her on Instagram as well, very important. If she has her Instagram linked, yeah, she's not just looking for attention. Yeah, some are, but some aren't. If she's there with her Instagram, text her on Instagram as well. Very important. Why would you let that opportunity go by? By the way, you can text her on Instagram without even matching her. If you're going through the profile and you haven't even matched, text her on Instagram. You can send 5 to 10 cold messages on Instagram per day, no problem. Remember, this whole online dating thing, no more than 15, 20 minutes a day. There's a concept that Tony Robbins introduced many years ago called NET. No extra time. The time you spend on the toilet. Let me address this time excuse for a second. David, I work so much. I run a business. I'm busy with my job. I don't have time. Stop lying to me. Stop lying to yourself. Time is emotion. Time is always an excuse. If you sleep 5 to 8 hours per bullshit. If you sleep 8 hours a night, then you have 112 waking hours available to yourself every single week. Can you spend 5 to 8, 5 to 10 of that per week to find the most important person in your life? Can you spend 4 to 7% of your waking time? Yes, you can. You make the time. I have clients who run tech companies. I have clients who are in the medical profession. I have clients in all walks of life. Doctors, finance professionals, business owners. Some are teachers, software engineers, guys who are doing well. They're all busy. Some are rich and retired. That's also fine. Everybody finds the time. You make it. Stop scrolling Instagram for an hour a day. You don't need it. Be efficient with your time. The time you're on the bathroom is the time you can use for online dating. 20 minutes a day. That's it for one quality date a week. No excuse. You can actually block people on Tinder, which is nice, just in case you want to do that. You can, or rather should, message all of your matches immediately because it improves the experience. Now, don't message women that you don't want. And don't swipe right on women that you don't like because it trains the algorithm to give you more of the wrong matches. And then, spend a little bit of time on the profile. Don't just fly through them immediately. Spend a couple of seconds. Swipe through it a little bit before you swipe right or left because you want to avoid bot-like behavior. Almost all apps punish behaviors that make you look like a bot. Have a pet photo if you have a pet. If you don't have a pet, don't fake anything. Remember, this is not about faking anything. But if you have a dog, get a great picture of you and your dog or your cat. Get it? It works. You can add videos. If you play an instrument, if you sing, if you dance, if you play the piano, show that. On most dating apps nowadays, you can have videos and you can have voice prompts. If you have a good voice, not everybody does, okay? But if you're a singer or if you just have a great voice, use it because having a voice prompt, that builds a lot of attraction. If you utter the right words, if you say the wrong things, it's weird. But if you have a voice prompt, that increases her faith that the date will actually go well because there's a lot of women who have matched with good-looking guys on dating apps and they had a very weird voice and very weird personality. In a 20 to 30 second, in a 10 to 30 second prompt, voice prompt on Hinge, for example, you can convey a lot about your personality. When it comes to texting, this goes very deep. And in my coaching program, we teach the texting framework in detail. Apply for a free initial consultation if you want us to help you with that. Personally, we guide you through it from A to Z. That would really explode the context of this video right here, right now. But I'll give you a couple of pointers. The opener, if you don't know what to say this. You seem like you have great energy. Or must be difficult to maintain a manicure like that given your active lifestyle. Or if she has a dog and you have a dog, you can say, we should go on a dog double date someday. I just wouldn't know if I'd be able to handle it if they got on better than we do. These are 3 generic ones that you can take in case there's nothing. Most of the time you think there's nothing. There actually is something. You just don't know how to do that, okay? The best openers are the ones that are tailored to our profile. Couple of general rules, roughly match her response time. If she takes 10 hours to respond and you respond within 5 minutes, it's going to make you come across as needy. Now, if she takes 10 hours to respond, you don't have to wait 10 hours. You can respond within 2 or 3 hours. That's fine. But just roughly match it. Now, if she responds quickly and you're having an ongoing flow, don't just then wait 3 hours. Be realistically busy. And then avoid massive blocks of text and then get somebody, for the love of God, to give you feedback, because it can be us, doesn't have to be us, but most men suck at texting. Most men lose so many dates just because they don't know how to text. And texting is not like email. Texting is not like in-person communication. Texting is a very rare and strange form of communicating that most men just simply haven't learned. And I had to learn that from my mentor 7 or 8 years ago when I was working for Salesforce as well. And so get somebody to give you feedback with that. Extremely, extremely important. Pro tip, one thing you want to avoid, the reverse student-teacher frame. Super important that you keep the frame of either being the teacher or very, very, very rarely only asking her to teach you something, because you don't want to fall into the position where, are we good? Where you force her to teach you something. Not force, but you say, oh, look, maybe you can teach me some Spanish or some Portuguese, or you can teach me something. She doesn't want to teach you anything on the first date. Obviously, you can learn something from her when you're in a relationship. I learn things from Fernanda the whole time, of course, but don't make her the teacher. I had a client many years ago, the client testimonial is actually on the website. He was a technical program manager for Amazon when he came to me. Didn't have a lot of dates. Super amazing guy, by the way. He got engaged. He's married. He's super happy now. And he would do that. He would have a lady on a date with him and then ask her to teach her something. And I don't know why she lost interest in me. If women lose interest in you, as in, I didn't really feel the spark, I got to focus on myself, I'm not ready for a relationship, we're better off as friends, it's you have blind spots in your communication that you need to fix. That's it. 1 out of 150, 200 blind spots is the reverse student teacher frame. If you put her in the position where she has to teach you something, it turns her off. At some point, obviously, you can learn something from her. This doesn't mean being some weird, dominant, silly person, but don't ask her to teach you something. It dries her out very, very quickly. Don't use WhatsApp or hey or how's it going, or I guess some generic nonsense of that in text as well, obviously. And then again, the entire texting framework, apply for a free call. Come on, just do it. But the way you then ask her for the date is you say, let's meet for drinks one of these days. Okay? Let's meet for drinks one of these days. And then she says, cool. And then you suggest a concrete time and place. Extremely important. You can also use Instagram to get dates. Instagram is the #1 dating marketing machine in the entire world. You don't have to use Instagram. Not necessary, but it really helps. Having a good profile with 9 to 12 good pictures, couple of story highlights, putting 120 seconds a day of effort into posting 1 or 2 stories is going to help you a lot. And by the way, it's not so that you can look at her. It's so that she can look at you. Have you ever had that where you see maybe just one photo of her, and then the more photos you see of her on Instagram, the more you look at her profile, the more desire you feel within yourself to want to meet her? That happens to her as well. The more she sees about you, the more attractive things she sees about you, the higher the probability that she'll want to meet you. Instagram will 3 to 10x your results. Fact. We've measured this. Now, you have to reduce on your dating apps, on Instagram, and through the entire dating process, points of friction. Your job as a man is to reduce points of friction. Can be a glass of alcohol on a date. On a photo on a dating app. It can be, a cigar is a bit different if it's done well, but generally avoid pictures where you're smoking. Now, a cigar is fine if it's done in a premium setting. A weird facial expression, a weird angle, weird lighting, other people. You have to reduce elements of frictions in your profile because she has a lot of options. And one element can already cause her to stop texting you back. Because if she stops texting you back, or the conversations fizzle out, it's partially your texting, but maybe your profile didn't create enough genuine burning desire within her. Now, currently your profile may create a 4 out of 10 level desire within her. Enough for her to start the conversation, but then the more she looks at your profile, the more she loses interest. As opposed to having an amazing profile, which then causes a 9 out of 10 level interest within her. So she'll be very engaged in the conversation's flow. Now, obviously, we don't just want to rely on that. Look, you can theoretically just use dating apps and find the right girlfriend or wife. Most of my clients, by far, find their wife, their girlfriend, their life partner through dating apps. But the in-person component is not to be underestimated. Trust me, please. You're currently not introducing yourself to women. Why? Because you haven't overcome your approach anxiety and you don't know how. That's it. There is no other reason. David, I could if I really wanted to do. Why aren't you doing it? Go to the approach. Do it now. Go introduce yourself right now. Approach. In a Starbucks, in a bar, during the day, in the gym. Why aren't you doing it? AA. Approach anxiety and you don't know how to do it. That's it. There is no other reason in the world. No man who's overcome his approach anxiety and who has the skill set doesn't introduce himself to his potential future wife when she's in front of him, i.e. an attractive woman. Never seen it. Doesn't happen. So how do you overcome your approach anxiety? Remember earlier we talked about expanding your comfort zone and progressive desensitization. Here's what you do. You talk to women who are not that attractive. If you're nervous, you haven't gone through progressive desensitization. Yes, there's tons of confidence exercises and mindset techniques that you can use to get yourself there. Yes, there's a lot of strategies. But one that always works is to just start talking to women in everyday situations or on the weekend, whatever you want to do. Not nightclubs. You're not going to find your wife in nightclubs. But in everyday situations, start talking to women you don't find that attractive. She's a 2 out of 10, a 3 out of 10. A 4 out of 10. Because the incremental difference is so small that you can do it. If you expect yourself to immediately approach a really attractive woman, yeah, of course you'll freeze. You haven't done it. You have 45 years in your life of practicing the habit of not taking action. You have a lot of excuse-making momentum. Because remember, there's not just action-taking momentum and the opposite, and nothingness. There's action-taking momentum and excuse-making momentum. For the last 33 years of your life, 27, 55 years of your life, you have seen opportunities, seen a stimulus, register it, nervousness came, you said, I'm not going to do it. That micro-algorithm has fired thousands of times. That's why it takes a couple of months to unwire this. To find the right girlfriend or wife doesn't take years, but it takes a couple of months to change your habits of thinking, of feeling, and acting. These are habits of communicating that you need to change. That's why it doesn't happen from today to tomorrow, but it also doesn't take 2 years. But you'll have to take some action. But start slowly. It works every time. You can really take the drama out of it. Ask yourself, how ugly does she have to be for me to go and talk to her? Then you start there, and then you go a little bit higher, a little bit higher, a little bit higher. Works every single time. Very important that you convey intention right at the beginning. You have to convey your intent. Let her know that you're intimately interested in her. You can simply say, excuse me 2 seconds. I saw you. You're really cute. Had to come and say hi. Now, the best openers are obviously situational, tailored to whatever happens to be going on in that situation. I was with my mentor in Berlin, and I think we were sitting at a cafe, and 2 ladies walked by, and they were saying something like, blah, 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 Carlos. And he walks up to them and he goes, excuse me, ladies, I'm neither a Carlos nor an Alejandro, but I have danced bachata before. Nice to meet you. Right? That is a genius level of verbal game that you will never reach in your life, that you don't have to reach, okay? You don't have to have perfect verbal game. You don't have to be mega funny and mega witty. We are, because we teach it. You don't need it. If you have 5% of that, you're good. You'll need more than you have now, but you don't need expert level of this. You don't need to be a comedian, right? But these are obviously the best openers, but you don't need it. You can simply start the conversation with, excuse me 2 seconds, I saw you, really cute, had to come and say hi. Then you build attraction and connection over the next 3 to 7 minutes, and then you ask for a number or Instagram. That's it. Now, this goes a lot deeper, obviously. I could spend literally 6 hours talking about the first 3 to 7 minutes, but we have maybe 20 minutes-ish left. And I want to talk a bit more about what happens on the date and give you some very, very concrete pointers for the date. But just understand, you start, you assume the burden of the conversation, you overshare, you don't just ask her, so, what do you do? Do you come here often? What's your name? What's your job? Because you run out of things to say, do you then revert back to simply asking her one question after another, which bores her? Imagine you walk down the street, or you're in a Whole Foods, or you're in a bar, or a homeless person walks up to you and says, excuse me, what's your name? David. What do you do for work? Online coaching. Where do you live? Who the fuck are you? Why would you want to know that? Right? You haven't earned the right. So you want to overshare and open different conversational hook points for her to then latch onto, ping pong, and then go off. Okay? Again, as I said, I could go probably into 6 hours of detail here. Let's touch on the gym for a second, because a lot of my clients, they like going to the gym. So if you see somebody in the gym, very important, you don't want to be the guy who only hits on all of the attractive women in the gym. If you are, by the way, pro strategy, so you have your regular gym, get day passes. In your city, there's probably 20, 30 other gyms, right? Or 2 or 3. Get day passes when you're traveling or wherever you are or locally in gyms where you're not a member. And then you can just direct approach. Direct means with a compliment. Hey, excuse me, you're really cute. Had to come say hi. Don't interrupt her in the middle of a set. Obviously, be calibrated. But then you can go direct. Once a month or so, you can even do a direct compliment, intent-based approach in your gym where you're a local member of. Obviously, that's fine. But the best strategy is to simply become a social guy in general. Now, if you don't want to approach in the gym, I completely respect that. No problem. You don't have to approach in the gym. Not necessary. I have a client in London. Sorry, not in London, in the UK, somewhere else. He's a business owner. Pretty successful business owner. And he worked with me for 5 months. And then he found his girlfriend in the gym. So we never know where you're going to meet her. It may be a very valid place, but you don't have to. But if you want to, then you can simply ask her, or the lady who happens to be next to you, who's attractive, excuse me 2 seconds, would you mind taking a quick video? Cool. For my Instagram story, so I can check the form later on. And then you start the conversation, see if she's interested, get an Instagram, and then schedule a date. Proven works. Now, the next time you have to ask a man. You ask a woman, you ask a man. You ask a woman, you ask a man. Because then if somebody watches it from the outside, it's just David, he's just a social guy. He just does that thing with his Instagram thing. Fine. Even if I did that when I had 300 followers, not 1 million. I did that when I had 300 followers on Instagram, not 1 million. It works extremely well. A woman, a man. A woman, a man. If you don't want to do it in the gym, that's fine. But if you do want to do it, I suggest you use a more socially, easily digestible strategy. In all areas, it doesn't matter. But since the gym is a social circle, you want to approach indirect. Very important. Let's talk about the date. When you're on the date, assume she already likes you. This mindset only applies to men who are actively working on their communication skills and who are ridding themselves of the blind spots that they have. But if you're working on yourself, on this particular domain, then the only thing that you should affirm to yourself while you're on the date, the only thought that should be present in your mind while you're on the date is the following. If this is meant to be, there's nothing in the world that I can do to mess this up. If this is not meant to be, there is nothing in the world that I can do to make this work. If this is not meant to be, there's nothing in the world that I can do to make this work. If this is meant to be, there's nothing in the world that I can do to mess this up. Obviously, there's plenty of things that you can do to mess this up. But while you're present on the date with her, it doesn't help you. It doesn't help you to be aware of the countless possibilities in which you'll mess it up. Again, focus. If you focus on what you can mess up, your unconscious mind is going to direct energy in that direction. Whatever you focus on, energy is going to flow in that direction. So, you're on the date. You just understand, she already loves me. Obviously, you're always going to be respectful. You're always going to be calibrated. You'll always be slow. And the second she's not interested in you, you create space. Very, very important. But the base assumption on the date has to be that she already likes you. Don't be needy. You don't need this date to go well. Instead of saying, oh, whoa, she's pretty. I hope she likes me. Say this to yourself in your own mind. She's beautiful. I hope I like her. Oh, that's different. In it? That's different, isn't it? She's beautiful. I hope I like her. Oh, very different. Because you're coming from a place of evaluation. You're not just going to jump into a relationship with her, even if she's attractive. Once you discover a red flag that disqualifies her, she's gone. Because remember, you wrote down your must-haves, nice-to-have deal breakers. Your must-haves, nice-to-have deal breakers. Once she exhibits one deal breaker, she's out. Yeah, but David, she's perfect. She's beautiful. Great personality. We get on so well. Everything's good. But she has a dick. Oh, no. No problem. I don't judge that. Whatever floats your boat. Love is love, right? But it's a deal breaker. It's a metaphorical deal breaker. One deal breaker is enough. Everything can be perfect. And one deal breaker, i.e. the fact that she's not respectful, that she hasn't showered in 3 days, can be a physical one, can be values one. Maybe you're Christian and she isn't. Deal breaker. That's it. Shamelessly disqualify the ones who aren't right for you. Because remember, this is not about making love to 150 women. This is about finding one woman who's right for you. And yes, it's going to take more volume than you initially anticipated. Not hundreds of days or something. But you will have to disqualify most people. And that's putting you in the position of choosing. Now, you don't want to be one of those arrogant men who looks down upon women. I don't believe in that. But you don't want to look up to her like a little weaselly something either. You want to have a relationship on eye level. Treat her as such. Before the date, suggest a concrete time and place. Send a confirmation text the day of the date. Before you even get there, so let's say it's a Tuesday. You're scheduling the date for Thursday. You haven't talked to her on Wednesday. Then Thursday morning, you simply say, see you later at 6. That's it. She says, cool, see you then. That's it. Are we still on for later today? Obviously, you assume you're still on. See you later that day. Put yourself in a good mood beforehand. Extremely important. Listen to some type of music that works well for you. Have a phone call with a friend on your way to the date because you need to loosen your jaw. You may notice that I'm in more flow right now at this point in the video than I may have been in the beginning of the video because flow is real. You got to talk yourself into flow. Now, the same is true on the date. If you haven't spoken a word in the 2.5 hours before you get to the date, you'll be a little bit stifled, and it's fine. You don't have to talk to anybody before the date. It's okay. You can warm yourself up on the date. But if you can call a friend on the way to the date and talk yourself into social flow, super powerful. Now, very important. Women notice the delta of their emotions towards you more so than the actual emotion itself. She notices way more how she feels an hour into the date than the emotion itself. She feels the difference. And it's more important that she continues to feel better and better and better around you, the delta, as opposed to just everything being perfectly smooth in the beginning. Oh, we went in for a hug and it was a little awkward. I filmed a video about owning it the other day. Just own it. Refuse to have any insecurity. Be calibrated. Be comfortable. Be respectful, obviously, but refuse to buy into the idea of awkwardness. Awkwardness is for losers. Awkwardness doesn't exist. There's no AW on the periodic chart of elements. AW, awkwardness doesn't exist. Awkwardness is just a meaning I give a situation or certain emotions that I feel. I will refuse to label any state that I have emotionally within me as awkward or insecure. Not going to happen. But it's okay for things to be a little awkward. You can also embrace the awkward. Oh, that wasn't smooth. You don't have to be James Bond. You don't have to be James Bond. Things don't have to be smooth for them to work out. Very important lesson. It's okay for things to be a little bit more hesitant in the beginning. That's okay. As long as things keep going better and better and better over the course of the date. That is important. Don't invite her for dinner for the first date. First dates only ever drinks. Can you do dinner sometimes? Fine. It's not about the money. It has nothing to do with the money. But you almost want to use it as a pre-qualification mechanism. Here's your invite. Let's meet for drinks one of these days. Now, obviously, ideally, you'll have alcohol-free drinks. If you want to drink, it's fine. But ideally, alcohol-free drinks. She can drink whatever she wants to, obviously. But don't do dinner for the first date. Just say, hey, let's meet for drinks one of these days. If she insists on dinner for the first date, you don't want to be in a relationship with her. It's not that you can't do dinner. It's not the thing but the place it's coming from. It's not the thing but the place it's coming from. It doesn't mean you can never do dinner, and if you're hungry, go for dinner, you might as well. But I would encourage you to use this as a pre-qualification mechanism. Fernanda doesn't care whether we spend several thousands of dollars or euros in 2 days in some hotel, or we go and get ice cream for €4.50 in Dublin. She doesn't care. She's equally happy. She's equally happy going for a walk, spending no money at all. The right woman shouldn't care whether you go out camping or you stay in a fancy hotel. You want a woman who's cool with both. Now, we have 10 minutes left. Let's see how much we can get into this. Your communication is boring as hell. You're boring as hell with women. That's why they lose interest in you. You're very fact-based, very flatlined. You talk to her the way you would talk to another man. And you're not trying to make love to other men. And again, if you are, no problem, but you're probably not. But for her to feel excited about you, she has to feel emotions of desire towards you. How do you do that? By creating spikes. How to create spikes? Well, you become effective at storytelling. You become a really, really, really good storyteller, and you become radically honest in your communication, and you remove the filters from your communication. You say the things most people wouldn't say. For example, I was with my mentor. We coach together, by the way, these days. I started coaching 6 years ago, and then 3 years ago he joined me, which is amazing. We've been friends ever since, but eventually he started to join me, which is awesome. So we were in Berlin the other day. I ran out of storage on my phone, had to buy a new phone, and then a lady walks by, and so he starts a conversation, and then he goes, "What are you going to do after?" She says, "Oh, I'm going to meet my father." And he says, "Oh, a woman with a father figure present in her life. I wouldn't even know what to do with that," which he said to her. Like, how didn't even come up with that, right? That is elite level verbal game, conversational excellence. You don't need that. But that's an example. Instead of just saying, "Oh, well, I hope you have a great time." You get me? There's opportunities in every conversational thread to make it funny or witty or a little bit more intimately playful, never weird or creepy, but to say the thing most people wouldn't say. Oh, we were talking to two ladies in some bar, and they're saying, "Oh yeah, we're very health conscious. We go to the gym a lot. We're actually, I don't know, on a diet or something." And he points at their glasses of champagne and goes, "Yeah, that clearly looks like electrolytes to me." You see? You need to create emotional spikes. Again, this could be an 11-hour seminar in and of itself, just on conversational excellence. But understand there is a difference between flatline communication and spikes. You need to create spikes. You need to be playfully challenging. Don't be rude. Don't be angry, but assume the burden of the conversation in the beginning of the date and understand that you can communicate in a boring way or you can communicate in a fun way. And the first date has to be fun and lighthearted. Don't be weirdly vulnerable. Be fun and lighthearted. One of the biggest mistakes a lot of my clients make, they like to have deep and meaningful conversations on a first date. But David, I thought if I'm looking for a wife, I should be able to have deep and meaningful conversations. Yes, but not on a first date. It's too heavy. Do that a couple of dates in. Lovers first, friends later. Lovers first, friends later. Fun, lightheartedness, romantic spark. Doesn't mean you have to have intimacy on the first date. That's not what I'm talking about. But fun and lighthearted first, deep and meaningful later. Trust me, I love deep and meaningful conversations. But fun and lighthearted first, it's timing. Timing really matters. There's a time and a place for everything. Fun is the currency. Extremely important. Self-amusement really matters. Say what you say to make yourself laugh, not to make her laugh. Never talk about other men on a date. Never talk about women you've dated excessively. You can briefly mention it, that's fine. Never try to impress her. Never ask her how many men she's been with. Don't be too agreeable. Never tease her for anything that she can't change. Very important. And refuse to let nervousness take over. If you're on a date with a woman you really like, you might feel nervousness. That nervousness can just be excitement. Say, "Oh, David is a little bit nervous." And you realize it's just free energy. It's excitement. Great. I will refuse for this particular emotion to dictate my actions. I may feel it, but then I can reframe it and say, "Ooh, there's excitement. I must be excited too." You feel a sense of nervousness. You say, "I must be excited to get to know her more. I must be excited to see where things go." And you reframe it. And by giving it a different meaning, it changes your mental and your emotional reality instantaneously. I could talk about attraction and connection for more, but I want to talk briefly about compatibility. Extremely important. There's a couple of things that you just have to understand. Compatibility is the number one factor for relationship success, okay? Because we've talked about some of the basics, then you get more quality dates, you learn to perform well on the date, and now you need to screen. What do you need to screen for? You obviously have your individual list, but you want to screen for, well, one is sexual compatibility. That's one thing. If you don't want to have sex before marriage, that's fine, that's no issue, but ideally you want to be compatible there. Yeah. And open-mindedness is a very important one. Self-esteem. Does she assume positive intent? One of the most important qualification criteria as a man is whether she's happy with herself. Is she secure within herself? Is she so cool with life, that if she doesn't know how you meant something, by default, she'll assume positive intent. My ex-wife did the opposite. If she didn't know how I meant something, she immediately felt attacked. And which I started walking on eggshells around her because she was very insecure. She's not a bad person. She's a good person at heart. But I felt like I started walking on eggshells around her because I thought any little thing could set her off. And I'd have to over-explain myself and over-justify myself. If I were to meet my ex-wife today and I were to communicate as authentically as I do these days, and I have done for countless years, the conversation with her would last 30 seconds. She'd get offended by my very existence. We'd respectfully shake hands and never talk to each other again. And that's exactly what's supposed to happen. You have to communicate so radically honestly that you filter out the wrong women. The reason you want to be radically honest is one is because it creates emotional spikes. There's a lot of other things that create emotional spikes, but that's one of them. But it parts the sea like Moses, where some women will really like you and some will really, really dislike you. That's exactly what's supposed to happen. The worst thing that can happen is that you attract successfully the wrong lady and then you end up in a marriage the way you have, on a relationship that was deeply unsatisfactory or even painful. You want to avoid that at all costs. Be willing to lose the wrong ones quickly. I would love to go into so much more detail, but this is already enough for today. If you put these things into practice, you'll do good. If you want me to help you personally, if you're a man who's doing well in your career, your business, you're crushing it, but the last missing piece of the puzzle is a fulfilling relationship to the right woman, click the link below, fill in the application form, and we'll find out if and how I can help you. Talk soon.